Chapter 5. The Seamstress of Blackwood Cove. The narrow coastal road twisted like a serpent between the looming pines and the jagged drop-offs to the sea. Behind them, the black sedan loomed closer, its headlights reflecting off Nancy's rearview mirror with a blinding glare. "They're going to ram us!" Bess cried, shielding her eyes. "Not if I can help it," Nancy muttered. She shifted into high gear, the roadster's engines screaming in protest. She knew these main roads were treacherous, designed for horse-drawn carriages rather than high-speed chases, but she also knew that the lighter roadster could take corners that the heavy sedan couldn't. Nancy saw a sharp hairpin turn ahead, the infamous Devil's Throat. She waited until the very last second, then slammed on the brakes and cut the wheel hard to the left. The roadster skidded, its tires spitting gravel over the cliffside, but it held the road. The heavy sedan, unable to match the maneuver, fishtailed wildly, its driver forced to brake hard to avoid plummeting into the Atlantic. "We lost them," Bess breathed, looking back at the shrinking red taillights of the sedan. "Only for a moment," Nancy cautioned. "They'll be right back on us once they straighten out." Instead of staying on the main road toward the harbor, Nancy veered onto a muddy logging trail. She doused the lights and pulled the car deep into a thicket of spruce trees. The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the ticking of the cooling engine and the distant sound of the sedan racing past on the main road. "We have to move on foot," Nancy decided. "If we take the car into the village, Clara's lookouts will spot us instantly." They stepped out into the damp Maine night. Nancy led the way through the woods, her internal compass guided by the distant rhythm of the Blackwood Cove foghorn. As they approached the outskirts of the village, they passed a small shingled cottage with a sign that swung creakily in the breeze. "Clara's Fine Sewing and Alterations." Nancy paused. A light was burning in the back window. "Nancy, we should be going to the authorities," Bess whispered urgently. "I need to know what Lucifer really means, Bess. If Clara is the one orchestrating this, her shop is the center of the web." Nancy crept toward the rear window, Bess trailing reluctantly behind. Peering through the glass, Nancy saw a room filled with bolts of fabric and half-finished dresses. But on the large cutting table in the center of the room sat something that had nothing to do with sewing, a high-powered shortwave radio. Beside the radio was a stack of identical lavender sachets, the very ones Clara sold at the market. Nancy watched as a young man, a village local Nancy recognized from the harbor, began stuffing small glass vials into the center of the sachets before stitching them shut. "It's not just silk and lace," Nancy whispered. "They're using the lavender to mask the scent of something chemical." Nancy's eyes fell on a shipping manifest lying open on the desk. At the top, in bold letters, was the name of the recipient, the Lucifer Tug Co. Suddenly, the shortwave radio crackled to life. A distorted, gravelly voice filled the small room. "CV, do you read? The guests have escaped the watch. Arthur says the ledger is gone. If that girl talks, the whole shipment is forfeit." Clara's voice, coming from a handset Nancy hadn't seen, replied with a chilling calm. "The girl won't talk. She's trapped between the woods and the water. Tell the captain to prepare the Lucifer for immediate departure. We move the primary cargo now." Nancy pulled back from the window. "Bess, the captain isn't Elias Thorne. It's the captain of the Lucifer." "But who is he?" "I don't know yet," Nancy said, her jaw set. "But Clara just admitted the primary cargo is moving. The crates at Whaler's Watch were just a diversion, a way to keep any wandering eyes on the mansion while the real smuggling happens right in the harbor." "But what could be in those vials?" Bess asked. Nancy remembered the faint chemical smell of turpentine at the White Tower and the scorched telegram's mention of the fog. "I have a feeling it's something far more dangerous than black market artifacts, Bess. If they're using a tugboat, they're planning to meet a much larger ship further out at sea, one that never officially enters American waters." As they turned to leave, the front door of the shop creaked open. The bell chimed, a cheerful sound that felt like a death knell in the silent woods. "Hide!" Nancy hissed. They ducked behind a row of heavy winter coats hanging on a porch rack just as Clara Vane stepped out. She wasn't wearing her floral apron now. She was draped in a dark, waterproof trench coat, a small silver pistol tucked into her belt. She climbed into a waiting car, the same black sedan from the chase, and roared toward the harbor. "She's heading for the docks," Nancy said. "Bess, I need you to find the local telegraph office. Send a message to my father in River Heights. Tell him to contact the Federal Bureau in Boston. Tell them the word is Lucifer." "What about you?" Nancy looked toward the flickering lights of the harbor. "I'm going to find out what's on that tugboat, and I'm going to make sure Clara Vane doesn't stitch up this mystery before I can unmask the real captain." To be continued.